Steve Riddle, if I were to tell you that Rhea Ripley is going to lose this match and lose the title, which of these four competitors would be most likely to take it from her?
That's a tough choice. Because I mean, all four definitely have a. I mean, I would probably say the one with the longest odds would probably be Zoey right now.
Okay. Yep.
I would probably then say, I hate to say it, but I don't see Raquel winning.
Not
Because she
yet.
already had her
Yeah.
one-on-one shot and and lost, so it's going to be either Shane. It would either be Shayna or Nia. And I know a lot of people probably don't want it to be Nia, considering that she just came back, and it seems like they want to kind of reestablish her as the dominant force of the women's division. So I probably would say if they were going to give it to somebody, maybe this would be a good time to give it to Shayna and let her have a run. That she's kind of earned, I think. She's been kind of on the back burner for most of the year, and then she had the little thing in the over the summer with Ronda, and now I think she's due for something for something.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. Now, ultimately, I do believe that Rhea Ripley will easily retain this, and but just to kind of throw a cold open question out to you in a what if scenario, I thought that'd be a fun one to kind of take a quick peek at. Whenever I look at Shayna Baszler, we can see her eyes there right above your head. I instantly think of Ronda Rousey and the terrible, terrible makeup. So really haven't done much with Shayna coming out of that SummerSlam dud of a match, huh?
I mean, you can say like her whole time on the main roster has been kind of disappointing. Ever since losing to Becky at Mania all those years ago, she really hasn't been the same.
Yeah, you could say NXT was a lot of deodorant for her stink. I think she's kind of one dimensional. NXT was the perfect formula and the perfect setting and scenario to push her successfully. And I don't know if she really has much depth outside of what they did with her in NXT to kind of propel her past all these talented women on the main roster. And plus, her age is kind of up there. So it's like, how much do you really want to invest in her? I think she's perfect in the tag role. And the next woman we have here is Zoey Stark, someone who was teased to be her partner. Are they still a thing?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that just like got dropped out of nowhere. Like it started out of nowhere and just dropped out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was coming off the heels of Zoe getting turned on by Trish, or her turning on Trish. Her I liked the Trish as the lackey with Zoe. I thought that was a really good introduction to her to the main roster. I thought it fit really well, and I thought it did a good job to establishing her on the main roster and getting her character going. A little bit of character she going, but I think she's excellent in the ring. She has sneaky, very good mannerisms. I'm not sure if her ceiling is super high, but she should have a long run and she should get a goodwill, kind of like Io Sky turned into was slowly but quickly escalated to the top of the roster. I could see that with Zoe in a way too. I'm just not sure how she totally gets there.
Yeah, and reportedly she's got a lot of people in the back that
Yep.
are that like her. So because she's reportedly like very professional, and like you said, she's very good in the ring. So she's very dependable. Again, like you said, what's her ceiling? Can she be like a main event player as a champion, or is she just gonna be kind of one of those preeminent, um, you know, mid upper mid card women where she'll give the champion a run, but just never gonna break through.
Yeah, I think she's has a stronger ceiling than Shayna the rest of her career, but I don't think her ceiling's as high as this next competitor, and that's Raquel Rodriguez. I think that she was introduced to the main roster about year and a half ago. Do you think she is damaged goods, or do you think she is just getting introduced? And this is very similar to her NXT push, as they presented her on TV. They kind of put her over in some ways, but they didn't really use her until they really used her. What do you think of Raquel so far?
Yeah, she's it's interesting because like they established her really well in NXT as first as Dakota's bodyguard slash partner, then eventually as the dominant heel on that brand as champion, and then they brought her to the main roster and just like they inexplicably changed her name for no reason, and
Yeah,
they then kind of made her almost into this like the smiling, happy-go-lucky kind of, almost like a goody-goody two shoes.
hmm
That you almost kind of forgot how dominant she could be. And I think we've seen through this past year that they've kind of tried to reestablish that by keeping her be the happy face, but but making sure everyone knows how dominant she can be. I thought she and Rhea had a really good match the previous month. What was it? Payback, I think it was, or was it? I
Last
can't
limit
remember.
payback. They kind of
Yeah,
did it.
they start blending together. It's so I do agree. I think her ceiling is is still extremely high. I think she's still relatively young too, so she is someone that I think they can definitely bank on for the future.
Yeah, I think she could easily be a women's title match in a singles aspect at either a SummerSlam or even like a WrestleMania. So I think she has big upside, and I think she will be a big player coming in the next few years. And the last challenger here is Nia Jax. Were you surprised when you saw her come back? And what do you think? Because ultimately, I think like Shayna, she'll end up in the tag division. But how much legs does she have here on this kind of singles run she's been on?
Well, I mean, I was a bit surprised to see her back. I know when she made that surprise appearance back at the Rumble earlier this year, there were rumblings that she
Yep.
was on her way back, but then like when everything happened, you kind of forgot about it, and then and all of a sudden here she is, and um I do think she is. I mean, I know she does get a bad rep with people because she's not a safe worker. She injures too many people. I do think there is value in her being that dominant heel on the in the women's division. Um, Probably not like the anchor of the division, much like a Rhea. Um, but I think she does have value there. I do think her best days are kind of behind her with her original run. Um, so I don't know how much they're expecting to get out of her with this run. Um, but I guess we'll just have to see.
Supposedly Triple H has plans for her, and I don't know how long in the tooth those plans will be, but I get the negativity of it all with her, but I think she's a valuable asset to an extent in this women's division. This women's division is kind of shallow. I'm surprised we're getting a five-way here. This is pretty much the crux of the Raw division outside of Becky and like her little side projects of Indy and Candice and Xia Li and whatever she's got going on there. And then you got Chelsea and Piper floating around too. So this is
Hmm.
probably the crux of at least half of the women's tag team division. But let's talk Rhea as we get out of here. Rhea's a stud. She's been on a roll ever since winning the Royal Rumble to begin the year. This is the year of Rhea Ripley. Mommy's back. She is the leader, the de facto leader of the Judgment Day. Now, Riddle, do you suspect, my question to Mike Eller in the other SmackDown women's title match, do you expect Io Sky or Bianca Belair to be in the title match at WrestleMania? And he goes, wow, good question. No. So I think it's an easy one, but do you suspect Rhea Ripley to be in the title match at WrestleMania?
Yes, I definitely think so. I think she gets the year run as champion. The question I think now becomes who's going to be the one to face her.
You think they go Bianca?
No, I was going to say I think the obvious choice is Becky.
I think it's
Um,
Becky. Yeah.
yeah, I think that's the obvious choice. I mean, Bianca is always an outside chance because they still haven't touched them two together in on the main roster. There's obvious always the other factor that's not been talked about yet. Where does Jade Cargill factor
I
in?
was I was just gonna throw a monkey wrench into hey, what about Jade Cargill? All right.
So yeah, I think Rhea's definitely got some good there's some good options for Rhea going into the Rumble and then into Mania season as to who she's going to be facing there in Philly.
Cool. All right, Riddle. Is there any chance that these five women, last question here as we were out of here, any chance that these five women are together on a Raw team in a War Games match against a SmackDown team of to be determined later? This is kind of like a hossy little ass team right here. You know what I mean?
When I saw this match booked, my first thought was like, and again, and then being the most respectful way, it's a women's house match that you don't see
Yep.
a lot of, and obviously you
I have
expect
high hopes.
Rhea. Yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna definitely be a fun match. As for, I mean, obviously, Rhea's probably gonna be heading up Team Raw. Um, but yeah, I mean, if anyone on this in this match does, I would say probably either Raquel or Nia, probably.
All right, and one last question. I know I lied of saying there was one last one, but the real one last one will it live up to the hoss fight of the SummerSlam night 2017 main event of a 5-star match. Are we gonna get
Uh,
that here, Steve Riddle?
I don't think we're gonna get that, unfortunately. I don't
I
think any of
think
these
the
women
over
are
under
the
is 3
equivalent of
stars.
yeah, I don't think any of them are the equivalent of Brock Lesnar, but no, I think it'll be a fun match.
I think it's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be sneaky good on a really good Crown Jewel card. All right, Steve, that's it for this preview, buddy. It was really fun to have you, and I think we're gonna be seeing you on this feed sooner rather than later with a little war.
Yeah, can't wait.
All right, Steve, catch you soon, buddy.
All right, thanks, man.